Birmingham, Alabama. Some remember it as a place of tears and immense pain, but some know it as a place where lives would be changed forever. Birmingham, Alabama was possibly the most influential city during the Civil Rights Movement. This is the city where the Freedom Riders rode, where the children of Alabama marched, and where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote the most memorable and inspirational letter throughout the Civil Rights Movement. This is Birmingham, Alabama.
The year was 1960, and a group of 10 black students walked into a lunch counter, as they usually did. Only this time, they didn't sit at their designated section. This time, they sat at the white counter. Soon enough, policemen came to forcefully place them in jail. This sit-in inspired many more across the area, but not only at lunch counters. They were also effective at pools, numerous restaurants, and other public places.
1 year later, in 1961, the Congress of Racial Equality, also known as CORE, organized a group of people, both black and white, to ride through various cities while integrating their buses in order to test the laws of segregation. Former riding incidents that resulted in violence caused the rides to be suspended, but a brave group of students who were members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee insisted that they go on. This time, they rode through Birmingham, and still greater violence occurred. While the police stood back and watched, the riders were beaten until unconscious with pipes and bike chains.
This is Robert Chackney in Birmingham, at the home of a Negro clergyman, and with me are part of a group calling themselves the Freedom Riders, an interracial group traveling through the Deep South to challenge some of the segregated bus facilities in this part of the country. Yesterday they ran into trouble, they ran into violence. Today they say they intend to keep up their pilgrimage. Mr. Peck, you obviously have been injured, you're wearing bandages. What happened to you?
I got beaten twice yesterday by hoodlums, once aboard the bus and once in the terminal in Birmingham.
Many more demonstrations and projects took place during 1963, where blacks had a plan to gain the national media's attention. However, on April 2nd, 1963, Dr. King was arrested during a sit-in. During his time in jail, many white churches spoke out against the demonstrations and criticized Dr. King's methods. He then wrote a letter responding to these accusations, and it is now known as Letter from the Birmingham Jail. In the letter, Dr. King says, "Let us all hope that the dark clouds of racial prejudice will soon pass away, and the deep fog of misunderstanding will be lifted from our fear-drenched communities. And in some not-too-distant tomorrow, the radiant stars of love and brotherhood will shine over our great nation with all their scintillating beauty."
You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
This letter inspired many children to skip school on May 3rd and participate in the Children's Crusade. Thousands of children gathered to march to the mayor's office in order to confront this segregation in their city. Determined to defuse the marches, Eugene Bull Connor sent the city's dogs and fire hoses onto the children. The children were unable to defend themselves, and this event triggered scrutiny from media around the world and placed shame onto Birmingham.
Do you think you can keep Birmingham in the present situation of segregation?
I may not be able to do it, but I'll die trying.
Dr. King's goal for the Civil Rights Movement was never about focusing on one group of people, but making America a better country for everyone. Many innocent people from the city called Birmingham, Alabama, gave their strength and lives so all could have the same opportunity and rights. The dark clouds of racial prejudice here and around the world have unfortunately not passed away and can still be misunderstood. Let us not forget the history of the Freedom Riders,
The black students,
and Martin Luther King Jr.
that put civil rights on the map.
Let it shine, let it